and I don't want to make Google mad at me. Okay, so we are officially recording this session. To get started, I figured it would be great since we are the legends and we are super cool or super awesome or super nerdy, whatever you want to call it. I figured it would be pretty cool for us to just share with one another what our favorite uses or whatever of Google Classroom is. So inside of the text box, I've posted a link to a Google Doc, and I've made it to anyone with the link can edit, so don't delete people. But if your name's not on here, feel free to add it, and then just share what you teach and where, and your favorite thing about Google Classroom. We'll take just a couple of seconds for that. I also want to add that if you don't want to share, you don't have to. But I figured it would be cool to see what everyone else's favorite thing was. That way, if you have a tip that I'm not hitting and I don't even think about, would have some other ideas. I love seeing all the cursors kind of go at one time. It reminds me of the little game at circuses where you're shooting the water gun and the horses are racing one another. That's so random. Jamie, I love that you're an anonymous raccoon. And for those of you who don't know Jamie, she's typing Collins Elementary, and that's not Collins Lane. Unfortunately, she would be amazing. All right. Just looking at the list so far, it looks like all of us really love that Google Classroom is a great place to post those links, get them to students. You don't have to manually make copies for students. That would be atrocious. Like, I would probably just die if I had to do that. And for me, especially the differentiation part in Google Classroom, how you can send links to different students and ability groups. Oh, absolutely. And I will email you all this document after our session is over. That way, if you want to look back at these notes, you can. And that goes with everything that we're sharing today. I'm going to go ahead and hop on to the next part, but I don't want anyone to feel like their voice is not being heard. So if you want to finish your thought, you can go ahead and do that. We have a lot of stuff. Like I I started on a notepad, and when I first started planning this lesson about a week ago, I was like, okay, I really want to talk about rubrics, but what else do I want to talk about? And then it just started pouring out onto the paper. So if I start talking about stuff that you all already know how to do, please feel free to stop me. Or if I start talking about something and I don't go in depth enough and you have something to add or have questions, feel free to add on to that as well. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is the rubrics. Is anyone in this Google Meet using rubrics inside of Classroom? And Caitlin, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I
He
used
said,
the AP rubric in my Google Classroom while we were on virtual learning. It saved a lot of time.
awesome. I love that you used that. And my example that I have is something that I've made up for fake students. Well, I'm going to use it for PD students. But Londa, if at any time, I think it was Londa that hopped on the mic. If you would like to share yours, you're more than welcome to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So I want to share with you all how to set up rubrics. And one of the pains that teachers have with Google Classroom is it's so hard to grade in. I'm quicker with grading on paper, whatever. I mean, yeah, I can totally relate to that. But when Google added rubrics, I was like, oh my gosh, if I was still in the classroom, I would use this all of the time because you can reuse your rubrics and you don't have to create them from scratch every time. Also, don't judge me for how many Google Classrooms I have. I'm sorry. I have a lot. So inside of Classroom, when you create an assignment, it's going to give you the option to add a rubric. So I need to give this a title. And then over here to the side, after I give it a title, I can go in and attach anything just like I would. So it could be a worksheet or it could be a Google Doc that the students are writing their memoirs on or whatever it is. I can click where it says rubric and I can create a rubric directly from scratch. It's really easy to do it. So one thing that I recommend, you know how you give the students a rough draft assignment and then you grade the rough draft and give them feedback with a rubric? Sometimes if they see a score, at least middle school science, this is the way it works. If they see the score, they would say, oh, this is good. My 78% is fine. I don't want to see it. So I recommend turning the scores off for rough drafts. But if you want to keep it on, you totally can. So the first thing you want to do is give your criterion a title. So it might be organization. And you can also give it a description if you want to. Give some points, just like a typical rubric would do. Give it a title if you want. And then give a description for a little bit more information for them to be able to understand what your expectations are. Okay, so this is super rushed, but if I had, if I had more time, I would go into more detail. Then I can just press the plus sign and I can have different levels. Oh, I want to do negative scores. And I can continue to do that for however many sections that I want to give. So I'll just make the next one be 0. And then I could have a new section, new criterion, and do the same thing again. I want to show you what it looks like whenever I'm just going to click X on this one. Whenever you have one attached to an assignment. So let me find the one. I tried to put it on the bottom of one of my PDs. That way people didn't see it and get freaked out. Okay. So once you have a rubric attached and you click on that assignment, you're going to see rubric right here. And you can even proofread, like see what the rubric was. Students will be able to see that as well, so they can refer back to it while they're working. And when you start grading this student's assignment, you're going to be able to use that rubric. So right here, I have my grading window, and I can click my rubric and leave them scores directly on it. So right here, use my little drop-down menu to give them their score. And then when I return it, they're going to see not only their grade, they're also going to see how I've left feedback for them based on that rubric. Wanda, do you have anything to add to that, or is that?
I mainly had a question, if that's okay, instead
Absolutely.
of something. Okay, so like those AP rubrics and some of them, like they can take forever to type in there. Like once I type it in once, is it saved? Is there a way I can go get it and pull it in when I want it for another assignment? Or do I have to keep typing it over?
That is a great question. And a couple of months ago, I would say that you had to retype it. But since
Okay.
then, Google has made it to where you can reuse rubrics. So to reuse a rubric, because like Wanda was saying, rubrics are very, very long and detailed, and they take a lot of time and a lot of tedious work. So I'm going to go to another class, and I'm going to go to a different assignment. I'm just going to create a new one. Now, whenever I make this assignment and I click on my rubric button, I can reuse that rubric, and I can pick which class the rubric that I made was in, find it based on the title, and select it, and it will pull it from that class into this new class. You can even use it for the same class too. So if you wanted to reuse. If you have a class that's archived, so if you had a 2019-2020 AP class and then a 2021 AP class, then you can look in your archived class and pull the rubrics up from there too. They'll still be on that menu.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for asking that question. That's a great question. All right, I'm going to check to see if we have any questions in the chat. All right. So I love rubrics. I super love them. And whenever I was using them and kind of collaborating with Google Classroom back when I was teaching, I would have to print the rubrics off and have them beside of me while I was looking at the screen because I couldn't leave the feedback clicking. Chad, there might be a way like with a Google Sheets or Google Docs add-on. Rubrics are so new that I doubt that there are, and I'm not aware of any, but I'll make a note and see if I can figure out an answer for you and share that with you. That's another really good question. So for those of you who, well, you can see my screen. um, yeah, I lost my train of thought. So that must mean that it wasn't important. But if you have any questions about rubrics, let me know and I will be happy to help. Okay. The next thing is the Google Classroom Gradebook. Now, back around August or September of this past school year, Ruth Booth and Jim Masters and myself went to an admin meeting, and maybe Ruth wasn't there. Maybe it was Jim. I can't remember. Anyways, um, let's see. Caitlin, that's perfectly fine. I'll email you the recording. So we went to an admin meeting and we asked the principals if they were interested in having Infinite Campus pull grades directly from Google Classroom. And if they were, each school had to pay for it individually. It wasn't a huge cost, but the district didn't think that all schools would use it. So they wanted to give the principals a chance. And I don't think any of them purchased that option. However, I am going to take it back to the admin meeting at the beginning of this school year and see if that's something that we could revisit. So if you've never clicked on grades inside of Google Classroom, the Gradebook is really awesome, especially if you're using Google Forms inside of Google Classroom and you have those grades pulling automatically. It's going to give you an average automatically at the top of each of your assignments. So a whole class average. And you can also click on individual student names and see what they've turned in, what they've been assigned. Assigned is just missing without a due date, and then missing is beyond the due date. So that's really, really cool. And I also want to say that you can go in here and you can edit assignments, but you could return all of the work at one time to your students. The reason why we want to return work if they have work turned in and we don't return it, even if we don't put a grade on it, they're no longer able to access that as an editor. And they won't be able to find it inside of their Google Drive. So if we don't return it, it's pretty much sitting in their drive instead of theirs. But I really do like the gradebook, and hopefully this fall we can get that Infinite Campus integration in there. Is anyone using the gradebook right now for anything like beyond what I just shared? I feel like Chad Mangum probably does.
I used it where we weren't allowed to put missings in unless we had met a whole bunch of hoops. I put it into the Google Classroom gradebook, and I would say to kids, like, if you don't turn the work in, this is what your grade would be. And then I didn't put the missings in Infinite Campus because we weren't supposed to do that. So, but I love the idea of linking IC and Google Classroom gradebook because that would save so much time if we were doing distance learning again.
I agree. And I think that if I want to see how the rest of the next couple of weeks play out, because I feel like if I go to the admin now, they might have a different mindset. But Leah, I believe it was Leah in the chat. Leah, which Google add-on did you use? Grade transfer. Is it? I'm gonna write that down and I'm gonna play with that too. My gradebook inside of Infinite Campus, I don't have one. I don't even know why I said gradebook. My Infinite Campus looks completely different now than when I was a teacher, but I might have to get with some of my teacher friends once quarantine is over and play around with that because that sounds absolutely awesome. Grade transfer. And then when I share out the resources from this chat, I'm going to share that app or that add-on. And Leah, before I share it, I'm going to confirm with you that it's the same one because that sounds amazing. And Caitlin says she needs that. Robbie said that he used it to clean up NTI assignments for late work. And that is awesome because we know that when students turn in assignments in Google Classroom late, it says it. So it automatically timestamps everything, which is pretty handy if we have parents who are questioning why their child got a deduction in points or whatever. Grade transfer. Okay, I got it wrote down there, Leah, and I will share that out. Thank you so much for sharing that. This is a really good discussion. All right. Checking off my list here. We're doing great on time. When you all are assigning things inside of Google Classroom, do you typically put a due date on them? And you can answer on mic or chat, however. So if you do put due dates on them, that is awesome. And if you don't, that's fine too. This Google Classroom is a complete mess. So it's my practice test room. But if you go in here and you create an assignment and you give it a due date, it does something other than, oh, I can't spell. It does something other than just giving it a due date. So I'm just going to pick a date, click assign. What it does, every single Google Classroom that you create also creates a Google Calendar. That Google Calendar is also accessible to students. So it's really awesome that it does that because if I go to that assignment and I know that it's my test class because it's pink, I have a million calendars. Students won't have this many. It automatically will link to that assignment and any additional resources that go along with it. So if I click on it, like if there's a Google Meet call with it, it's there. If there's a link attached to it, it's there. So students can also go back and look at those assignments previously. So if they know that they've been in this unit from May 4th until June 4th, they can go and look at all of those different colors to look and see and reflect back on the work that they've done. They will always be there. Um, Another thing inside of Google Classroom, if you don't already, I highly recommend numbering your assignments, especially if we start off next school year with NTI. The reason why is because when parents are asking like which assignments is my child missing, or they have questions, or the students have questions, if you try to remember the titles of everything that you name and you have multiple classes per day, it's going to be really hard for you to remember. However, if you know that it was assignment number 6, you can just tell them. Inside of Google Classroom, it's assignment number 6. And inside of Infinite Campus, you can even document this is a Google Classroom assignment, see Google Classroom number 6. Except when you use the pound sign or the number sign for the numbers, students will rip you apart and say that that's not what it's used for. But yeah, it still is a number sign and a hashtag sign to me. Um, so I just gave you some information. I don't see any questions in that chat box. Y'all feel free to stop me at any time. I grew up in auctions, so I know I talk really fast. I don't want to confuse anybody. The next thing that I want to share with you, there's two things inside of the settings of Google Classroom that I think are fantabulous. The first thing is something that they've added recently that will really help if we start the year off with NTI. So to get to the settings of your classroom, make sure that you're in the class that you want to be in. You'll click the settings wheel. This is also where you can change the title if you ever need to do that. And the class code in case parents get it and try to join your class. They never do that, right? But scroll down to where you see the little meet bubble and make sure that it's activated. I think you have to activate it the first time. It's going to automatically give you a link, and you can always reset that link in case students do this with inappropriate, like they're getting on there and chatting instead of doing their work or whatever. You can reset it, and you can also make this link be visible to the students. If you make it be visible to the students, it's going to be right underneath of your title on your stream. Right there it is. Students will be able to see it there as well. The good thing about this is if you set up a Meet inside of Google Classroom, it's only going to allow students from your class into it. You don't have to worry about changing those settings yourself. Another thing, if you are the last person to leave this Meet and you close it, meaning you change the link like we just seen in the settings, that Meet link is no longer accessible to students and they will not be able to re-enter. I think that's fabulous because I know that's a huge hurdle that we've had with NTI. Yeah. So do I have any questions about that? Okay. Also in the settings of your class settings, if you scroll down to where it says stream, I don't know how many of you used Google Classroom back in 2016 when everything was beautiful and you could scroll down the stream. There was no classwork page. The stream was the classwork page, and you could quickly see how many students turned it in, how many students still needed it, and how many students have been returned to and graded and all of that good stuff. And I severely missed that. If you want that to happen, go to your settings. It's automatically set to show condensed notifications. So what it usually looks like is this. Oops, yeah. And that's fine. Like I can click on them and see individual assignments. but I missed that at a glance. So if I go in, turn my stream on to classwork on stream and show attachments and details and save it, I can now just scroll through my stream and see how many people have turned it in and how many people it's been assigned to. I really missed that feature and I was so happy when I found out that it existed again. Okay. Inside of Google Classroom's classwork page, if you're trying to plan out your next school year, and I say try because we don't know what it's going to look like, we're so uncertain, you can go ahead and create topics. And um, students will not be able to see those topics until you published a post. So if you go in and you save a draft underneath this topic, students will not be able to see the draft or the topic name until you have already gotten it onto your page. Same thing if you schedule an assignment to show up in October because you can be that far advanced because you're amazing. They will not be able to see it until that shows up on the stream or the classwork page. All right. I'm going to pause for a second. Oh, yes. Leah said that she was so excited to see that you can make it to where you can hide the assignments inside of the stream because that drives me a little crazy too, just to be honest. So inside of settings, you can also just hide all notifications, and then they had to click the classwork in order to see all of the work. So you could really use your stream as kind of like a here's your syllabus or class announcements, and then all of your assignments will be on classwork. That's probably a lot less confusing for parents whenever they're helping their kiddos with the work. Leah is on it. She's a sharing machine. I also wanted to share on the stream, you can move things up to the top. So, like if you decide to leave all of your classwork there, but you have a daily announcement that you want to share with your class, maybe it's a video that you've attached to it. If you click these three dots, you can always move it to the top. I always am hopeful that Google will bring back the pinned post. I so miss having a pinned post to the top of the stream. Let's see. All right. Do you all have any questions at this time? We've been 30 minutes of me throwing stuff around and you all making things even better. But does anybody have anything to add on to what we've shared so far? If not, I'm going to get a quick drink of water. We'll take like a quick little stretch break because I know that your all's brains probably feel like mine. Lots of stuff in it, trying to absorb it all. Chad, absolutely. I 110% agree. And when I'm in multiple classrooms throughout the year, I see students of all grade levels that are using Google Classroom, and a lot of them are not using the classwork page. So you're absolutely right. And they don't know how to use the actual classwork page, which is labeled clearly. We worked hard on it. Absolutely.
Kind of adding to that, Stella, one of the things I was going to ask, since there's a good possibility of virtual learning next year, can we have some kind of a video put together or tutorial for our kids? Like, you know, I had only used Google Classroom like as I guess, an accessory. And then once we switched to things in March, I had kids who didn't know how to do like anything. And I just think it'd be cool if we could all be on the same page, like just kind of show them the basics or something. Like, I don't know if that's something that you guys could put together and save us some time or what, but I think it'd be cool.
That is a wonderful idea, and that's absolutely something that I can put together. The good news is I have a daughter that is a Franklin County school student, and I use her email all the time. Whenever she starts using it and she's not a kindergarten student anymore, she's going to kill me, but I'll ask Jimmy to clean it
Okay.
But yes, that is an absolute wonderful idea, and I would be so happy to do that. I think, sorry, y'all are in my dungeon of screens right now. My bad. Oh gosh. You know how sometimes you do stuff like that? It's like, quit. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay. Let's see. I had another question here. Yes, Caitlin, you are 100% correct. One of my biggest pet peeves when I was in the classroom was when a student would email me something, and I would kind of get a little bit snarky because, I can't remember that they emailed me when I have a clear Dropbox inside of Google Classroom for them to share it with. Yes, turn those notifications off. Ugh. Leah had another wonderful idea. She said that she puts a weekly agenda up on the stream with the assignments they would have to complete for the week, and that was the only thing on the stream, and it really helped the kids. So, yeah, you could totally throw a Google Doc or slides or whatever up there that you prefer. You can make a Screencastify video to show them and post that on the stream. Wonderful, wonderful ideas. I love it. All right. So a couple days ago, I was scrolling on Twitter because I tweet like crazy, and I saw somebody had made these little cute Bitmoji backgrounds. And I know we've had some Franklin County people do that too. Amazing. Y'all are so cute. And sorry for the guys, like, we can totally make them be more masculine too. So the good thing about this is I saw somebody added a gift to it. So I'm going to show you one that I made. This is my little Bitmoji character walking in the background of this Google header. And I think it's so cute. I think it's so cute that I made a TikTok to share it on the Facebook page with y'all. That's my first TikTok I've ever made, so don't judge me. I might be going a little crazy with quarantine. Anywho, so what I did, I made this header inside of a Google Slides presentation. If you've never made your own Google header, it's super, super easy to do. So what you do, open up, that's not right. Open up a new Google Slide presentation. I always like to first just get rid of everything and have a clean slate. I don't want to get anything of that. And on File, go down to Page Setup, where it says widescreen, change that to custom. And let me tell you what I've done first. So the dimensions for a Google Classroom is 800 by 200 pixels. If you put 800 by 200 in there before you pick pixels, it changes it. So you would have 800 inches by 200 inches, and that would be crazy. I laugh at my own stupidity. So apply, and now that looks exactly like a Google Classroom Porter. So you can go in here, you can add your backgrounds to it, you can add pictures and do whatever. I'm not going to share it step by step, but I have a video that I'll share with you all that I created earlier today on how to make what I did. So here's the final product. And whenever you finish one slide, you just click on it, right click on it, and duplicate that slide and modify it just a little bit, like scooch things around just a small little bit. And then you'll eventually get finished with your slide presentation. So if you want to upload any of those, you can download those individual slides by going to File and Download as a JPEG. In the video that I'll share with you all later, it'll show you how to make it a GIF if you're interested in that. I just wanted to share that because that was something that I thought was super cute. It might help your students feel more like in tune with your classroom, especially if you don't use a generic background, but you have your actual classroom in there. And you have like your own furniture that you use if you have one of those little cute rolly carts, a picture of your desk or whatever. So, yeah. I know that Laura, you made a cute one for your class. I saw it. We
I
had
did.
somebody. Oh, sorry. It
No,
was
you're good.
really
I did.
cute. Yes, Chad, they do. And like, it's just a little bit more personalized. Oh, sorry. There's some messages on the chat that kind of. Oh, absolutely. I can share the video here. I think I still have it pulled up in one of my 100,000 tabs that I have created. Um, my computer, I don't know how it runs. Okay. Okay. And we had somebody new hop in. Hi, Anna. Leah, yes. I have so many tabs and so many windows. My husband makes fun of me sometimes. So I try to hide them from him. I'm a tab hoarder. Chad, that's why I go with the cardigan. I almost always have a cardigan on. Unless it's summer. If I had a cardigan on right now, I'd just die. It's so hot. Yes, totally, 100%. Um, so I only have a couple more things to share with you all, and then I have the sign-in form for you to get your PD credit. I also have a feedback form. The feedback form will be anonymous. I am not collecting email addresses on that, I promise. I'll show you if you don't believe me. But a couple of more things that you all probably already do or know how to do. Don't forget about those private comments inside of Google Classroom. That is a total gold mine whenever you are NTIing it up and you need to have conversations individually with students. So whenever you are grading things inside of the classroom, oh, this is not the classroom I thought I was in. Sorry, I'm trying to find one that Stella Pollard did, not somebody else. Okay. Whenever you click on that assignment, make sure that you are aware of the private comments to them. Y'all, my brain. Okay, let's try this again. There we go. So down here at the bottom, when you click on their work, there's the private comment section. That way you can totally have those mini little conversations with the students. I know that during normal times it's really hard and we usually prefer that face-to-face interaction. However, for NTI, this might be one of the next closest things. And if you want to drop a Screencastify link in there, that way they can hear your voice, that's even better. Make sure that you do press this little send button because if you don't, those comments are not saved. So, one other thing, I've been enrolled into some teachers' Google Classrooms, and it's nobody in here. Absolutely not. And it's not that they're doing anything bad, but sometimes they would post assignments at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I have notifications on my phone, and I know that some students do as well, and parents. So don't forget about that scheduled post feature. It's not really a big deal that you post things at 2 o'clock in the morning, but um, just something to keep in mind. I know that we all know that we're workaholics, so 2 o'clock in the morning, you know. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up what all I had on my agenda. Does anybody have anything to add? Oh yes, Londa, you're right. If they get like 10 consecutive private comment, um, or if they get a notification on their phone, notifications on their phone, they are going to get those private notifications automatically. Okay, so while you all are typing in that chat box, this first link is the anonymous form. Caitlin, I did a session over Google Classroom for parents recently, and I've got a YouTube video already for that one. I plan on doing another one once it gets closer to the new school year. That way, I think it would be good to have one for middle and one for high, maybe intermediate too. Okay.
Hey, Stella.
Yes.
I noticed this spring when I was assigning things, like I have the option to do that originality report, which saves a whole lot of time whenever, instead of me trying to look for where they plagiarized from. But it popped up and said that I was limited to 3 originality reports per class, but that I could ask my administrator like something about the settings. Is there a way to get that changed to where we could have unlimited originality reports, Ryan? Like
It's
for
a
a
paid
class?
it's a paid for service. They're trying.
Oh,
Did I mute myself? No, okay. And it's quite expensive.
is it?
Uh,
It's just really
yeah,
handy.
I know. I loved it too, and that's why I didn't add it into this session because of that. My
Okay.
hope is that they're going to see, oh, nobody's paying for it, and make it free, or at least make it free while we're in these uncharted waters.
Right. That would be awesome.
I agree. They really made me mad whenever they said that it was not a free version.
And then my other thing is, in one of those Facebook groups I'm in, the teachers were talking about how, like if you're in an assignment and you can make a comment off to the side, that there's an add-on where you can just record your voice. Like you don't have to type anything. You could talk and say like, oh, I noticed in your second paragraph, blah, 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 blah. Like, are you familiar with what that add-on is?
I am, and it is awesome. It's called Kazena. I hope I pronounce it correctly. I'll share the link inside. Oh, Caitlin has a different one called Moat. I've used Kazena before. Let's see. Kazena was super user friendly. Let's see if. All right. Here's another one. I haven't played around with this one, but I will. They give me something to add to my list. But Caitlin, that one looks really cool too.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. That was a good question. Leah had another question in the chat box. She says that for all the wonderful teachers who are here, what was the best thing you discovered while using Google Classroom for NTI? Any tips or tricks? Um, Caitlin, you're right. Google Classroom for the legend. Robbie, I have a book that I would love to let you borrow. It's called Google Apps for Math. If I put that in your mailbox at school, actually, I could drop it off to Rebecca at Central Office. It has tons of great resources in there. I have a few more in my head, but I think it'd be easier for me to type them out and make sure that they still work. Because I know that you probably, actually, I know for sure that you already use Equatio, but there's some more. The title of the session is Google Classroom for the legend. On the Google form, I figured it would be easier for me to just to keep up with everything if I made one Google form for all of them. It's the first option under which session did you attend today? Oh, sorry, Chad. Let me look up the book. And it might be something that I think we should probably ask someone with more money if they could buy some for the district. So Google Apps for this is it. Teaching. Sorry, I butchered the title. Teaching Math with Google Apps by Alice Keeler. Um, we might reach out to some of the principals to see if they could purchase some of these for their math departments. And Robbie, I completely understand. Like Equatio is a great idea. There's another one that one of the other people, another math author, has written, and I'm trying to remember what the title of it was. There it is, Math Type. And this is what it looks like. I've not used it in a while, but I don't know if it would be helpful or not. And I can share the link to that in Google or in the Google Meet. It might be more helpful than Equatio. Um, Leah, let's see, you struggled using Google Forms for NTI? Is that what you said? Or what you meant? If so, I do have a couple of, okay, I have a couple of sessions that I offered before the end of the school year. I do have recordings for those, or I could also add a specific Google Forms session to the PD matrix if you all feel like there's a need for that. I would be happy to do that. I can make it go at your own pace or, okay. Would you all prefer the Google Forms one to be go at your own pace, or do you like this live, I say live, session like this one? Okay. Okay. Maybe I can do both. I'll make a Google Forms PD and I'll add it to the matrix. I'll send out an email to everybody in Franklin County because everybody loves getting those for me, I'm sure. But I will share out a PD session about Google Forms. Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, I've already got recordings from the ones that I did a couple weeks ago. But if you, to me, I like these because I do like pausing for you all to ask questions, and because you all sometimes add so much, like you go so much more in depth, or you have such a wonderful idea that never even popped into my mind. I love it. Yep. And Laura, Google Forms recently has changed to where they will automatically grade short answers too, and you can put in multiple correct answers if it's a commonly misspelled word or math problem. Um, while we're having this end of the session discussion, if you have filled out the PD sign-in form, so far I have 8 people who have filled that out. If you've not submitted that yet, make sure that you do because that's how I'm going to turn in who is present for PD. Um, but if you've already submitted that, if you're one of these wonderful people and you see your name, you're more than welcome to hop on off, or you can stick around for the closing discussion that we're having. You're very welcome, Caitlin. Um, Anna, that's the way I took it. Jamie, if you want me to reach out to Boone County and see if I can get you approved for this PD hour, you're more than welcome to. Oh, thank you, Londa. You're awesome. I'm still looking at your AP choice board. Um, I, I have been finding some AP resources slowly that we could use to embed on that. I'm excited.
That's awesome. Thank you. I got
You're
your
very
email about making my own choice board, so I'm going to learn that.
Bye.
They look really cool.
Yes, and I tried to on the examples of on that site. I tried to make them be a wide variety so people could get a feel for their grade and their content.
Cool. I'm excited.
Thank you. And thank you, Kelly. Jamie, that's awesome. If you need anything from me, let me know. Anna, absolutely. I'm going to share with you my YouTube channel. Now, I want to say that my YouTube channel is a total hot mess. My summer goal is to get on here and straighten it up. Also, I must be logged into YouTube on my phone because I keep getting all of this stuff. I'm a total fan of all of these awesome cartoons. Let me share my channel with you. I don't want my history. More videos. There we go. You're very welcome. My brain feels like jello right now. I lost how to find it, but I think I found it now. I want to make sure that I'm sharing the correct link with you. Yeah. Okay. There's a whole lot of videos on here. I also organize my videos into a Wakelet. If you don't know what Wakelet is, it's just kind of like a folder holder. Um, and this is what I've been putting everything in. I'll share this link with you too. So I had it broken down from family, instruction, and all the different content areas. And then I had to put autism in there too at the end. And if you don't already, Anna, do you already follow the instructional technology Facebook? If you don't, I post everything on there too. I'll share it. I try to make it not be flooded because I find all the stuff and I want to flood it, but I try not to. So that's Franklin County Schools instructional technology page. Whenever I make a video, I almost always put it on here. But I also add it to Wakelet and my YouTube channel. And Anna, also, I'm gonna share like all kinds of stuff with you. So I'm gonna share with you our summer PD matrix in case you would like to join any of our other sessions. There's also some go at your own pace sessions that I have going on. And if you want to do those, you're more than welcome to. I'm going to find that matrix for you. Too many tabs. I think my computer just burnt. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording of the session